Hi everybody, and welcome to part one of our crafting series, which is card making series. Now I wonder what way I'm going to get this to sit up here so I can show you everything. Right, I wonder will that sit like that so you can see my desk. I'm doing this in the living room today, whereas normally I would be doing it, well, I maybe should put it there and then I can show you the stuff that way. I don't know. Sorry, I'm blocking that. Right, I'll leave that there. Hopefully it will not fall down. So today I want to talk about the basics of crafting. And the joys. Well, I've actually been crafting for 10 years, roughly 10 years now, was when 10 years ago I started crafting. And you don't need very much stuff at all to start off crafting. When I first started crafting, I just recycled Christmas and birthday cards which I had received, and then I just matted and layered those and put those on top of bigger cards, and then put a few embellishments on and a sentiment, and hey presto, you have a handmade card. It's also very, well, I find it anyway, other crafts can be quite expensive. For example, my two main crafts, and it's the two main series I'm going to be bringing you on my YouTube channel, as well as a few other things, but I'll talk about that in another video. I've only got 20 minutes recording time, so I'm going to have to keep this first video short if I can. My two main crafting areas is card making and baking. Baking would be a slightly more expensive craft because not only is your equipment a little bit more expensive to buy, but your baking, your actual baking mixes and your flour and stuff, depending on where you buy it, of course, is also that little bit more expensive. So baking would be a more expensive hobby than card making. But card making, I find personally, is very affordable to do. The reason I first started out card making was because I'd always had a keen interest in crafts. But because I suffer from an invisible illness, I found it was a great way for me to relax, and de-stress and different things like that. And I've just always found it one of my favourites. And the really good thing about crafts, not just card making, is everybody's creations are special and unique to them. Because, I mean, you can have two crafters and ask them both to make a balloon card, and those two balloon cards are not going to be the same. I can't copy, I can't copy that balloon design off someone else because the other person maybe are very good at drawing, and they'll maybe design their balloons onto their card and then colour it in professionally with pens or pencils, whereas I might decide to decoupage balloons and put that on as my balloon design. So that is the fascinating thing, and the fantastic thing too that I find about crafting, particularly card making, even baking as well. No two creations, even if two people are asked to make something, the same thing, no two creations are ever the same. They're special and they're unique because everybody's crafting abilities and talents are different, and that's what's fantastic about it. I'm going to quickly talk about tools and the different things I use. For card making, make sure that you always use at least 350 GSM, which is the thickness of your card. Okay, here's the card here. This here is 350 GSM. If you use any less than 350 GSM, your card is going to be too flimsy and too floppy. Now, depending on the types of materials you're sticking on your card, for example, if you use 220 GSM, which is really flimsy and floppy, first of all, your card won't stand up, it'll fall down. Secondly, if you're using glue, that'll make your card heavier. And if you're also using chipboard shapes, which are also heavy, that too means if you stick that stuff on your card's just going to fall down. So always make sure you choose 350 GSM card. That's the thickness. GSM refers to the thickness. I tend to buy most of my card and stuff from Hunky Dory and on Create and Craft. There are, and Card Craft Plus, but mainly it is the Hunky Dory brand that I buy, and also Anita's. This card here is an Anita's card. The Adorable Scoreable on the Hunky Dory is 350 GSM as well. So yes, make sure it's 350 GSM for the thickness. So obviously the first thing you're going to need is card at 350 GSM. I like to use small cards, and in the past I have used bigger cards, A4 size. They're fine to use, particularly if, like me, one of my favorite techniques, I'm going to discuss that in a little second, but one of my favorite techniques is using 3D decoupage. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a wee second. And one of the things with the 3D decoupage, I've lost my trail of thought, haven't I? I'm sorry, with having invisible illness and different things, sometimes I lose my train of thought. And my next door neighbour is hoovering their car, and I can hear that over the top of what I'm trying to say, and that's a bit off-putting as well. I'm trying to think what it was I was trying to say about the decoupage and the card. Well, anyway, as I say, the brand I buy is the Hunky Dory. It's good quality and it's very affordable as well. And Create and Craft does some good offers on the Hunky Dory as well. So the first step is to buy your card. Now, oh yes, I know what I was saying. Now, the bigger card, the bigger the card you decide to make, the more, if it's going to be a white card like this, the more you have to fill up the space. I'll be talking about that in another video, but the more you have to fill up the space. I have seen people make cards, and that's fine. I mean, that's the way they want to make it, but that's not my idea of a greetings card. I have seen people with just a black and white design in the middle of a white card like this, and maybe a sentiment up here, and that's it. That's their card. To me, that's not really very creative. They've just stamped an image in the middle and put a sentiment at the top. You know, I like a bit of colour in my cards, and I like to use up, you know, the white space. There's background papers you can put on to use your white space, so you're actually only seeing the white edges of the card, and then you have your background paper and then your design over the top of that again. That's a technique also known as mat and learn. Again, I'll talk about that, all the different techniques in a more, you know, each detailed video. And then they'll maybe charge a lot for it. They'll maybe charge £3 or £4 for a simple black and white design and a sentiment on the front. To me, that's not really a card. Plus, if it's a big A4 card, I mean, look at all that space you could have used to put designs or embellishments and stuff on it. So I actually like to use the smaller cards more, because you can put what I like to do is I like to put a main design in the middle, and then I like to embellish either the corners or across the top or across the bottom or down this one side or maybe down this side. There's different ways you can embellish the cards as well. Again, I'll talk about that in more detail in another video as well. But I like to use up, you know, I don't like to cram stuff onto the card, but I like to use up my space nicely so that there is, you know, a nice design and stuff on my card, and it's being used, you know, in a creative way, so I'm not just putting one thing in the middle and then I've got all this space that I could have used, you know. So you'll need your card. Usually I use white cards, small card. Sometimes I like to use scalloped edge cards, so you can get ones with different shapes. Haven't got any of those left just at the minute to show you. A craft mat. I like to work on a craft mat. It's a nice, well, it's a nice sort of floppy but hard surface. I like to work on that rather than working on a desk. Sometimes if you're colouring in different things, depending on what you're colouring in with, you know, stuff can go through onto the desk. So I prefer to use this, you know, the craft mat. You don't have to use a craft mat. These are just some of the things I'm showing you that I use, my tools that I like to use. Also, you'll need your envelopes. Sometimes I like to use coloured card as well. I love using pastel cards, so we've got an orange one here. Again, still the 350 GSM. We've got a green one. You can have pinks, lemons. At Christmas time, you can have red, green, gold, silver card. You can even mat and layer using the Murray card from Hunky Dory as well. It's mainly Hunky Dory, most of the brands I use, so it's probably going to be Hunky Dory you'll see most of. Another thing I like to do is to reuse other cards. So this is an actual card, and what I would do is I will cut this part here off, this cupcake off, and I will use that then to mat and layer on a bigger card, and then jazz it up with some nice embellishments and a nice sentiment. So you can do that as well. You can use absolutely anything to embellish cards. My favourite, as I said, thing to use is 3D decoupage, and this is it here. So this just pops out, if you can see that. That just pops out like that, and then that's it, ready to use to stick onto your, you just for 3D, well, I'll show you in another video, but for 3D decoupage, as you can see, all these are different numbers. So I just pop all these out, and then you layer them up on top of each other, and it creates a nice 3D design. Now for the 3D decoupage, as you say, you can use these ones that pop out, which are very handy, or you can use these ones, I wonder where my scissors are at, with special small, if I can find them in a second, pardon me, decoupage scissors, and you just cut these ones out and pop them on to your card, and then again you jazz them up after that. I actually have some cards I have already made up with decoupage and a few different things, and I'm going to show you what I've used for each of the cards. This is the bigger decoupage. Again, if you want to cut this out, and then put it onto a bigger card. But again, at the minute, I just generally work with the smaller cards because it's you can actually, well, I find you can make more of the smaller cards. Other things I have started doing is, well, stamping is one thing. You can stamp with the wooden stamps like this, or you can stamp with the clear stamps, which requires using one of these, which is an acrylic block. Again, I'm going to do a stamping video, so I'll talk more about the stamping technique in another video, and I'll talk more about the decoupage in another video as well. But you can also buy the stamped images already stamped onto, again, I would imagine this is 350. It feels like a GSM card with a matching verse for the inside, and then you can colour that in professional pens, pencils, whatever you want. I also like doing the adult colouring in books, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll colour in an image from an adult colouring in book, and I'll pop it onto card, plain card, and then I'll pop that onto a piece of card and make a card from it that way too. If you can't get any of these, or you don't have any stamps. Other things you can use is, these are little chipboard shapes that I mentioned earlier. They just have a little, I'm going to show you these in a second, a little foam pad on the back. Now what I use for sticking all of my embellishments on is double-sided tape. Double-sided tape is this stuff here. This is what I use for sticking the likes of this here. I would be putting this on flat, so I would be using double-sided tape. I did used to use glue when I first started. I think it was Pinflair tacky glue when I first started making cards. But it's really, really messy. It sticks to everything, and it takes a little while for the glue to dry. So therefore, I prefer to use double-sided tape, which is less mess, because I don't like getting sticky. I have this thing, I don't like having sticky hands. You might think that's a bit weird, you know, a crafter that doesn't like sticky hands, but no, I have a thing about glue and I don't like getting sticky. So for flat things, I'll use double-sided tape, and for the likes of the 3D decoupage, whether it's the one you pop out or you cut out, I will use these here, which is on a roll. This one's rather sticky. I don't know where I got this one from. This wasn't from my usual supplier. This is far too sticky, so I'm going to have to get the stuff I got before. But I will use this here, which is double-sided foam pads. So it means I can cut this to whichever length I require and pop that on to my 3D decoupage to make up my 3D image. You'll also need a good pair of scissors for cutting stuff out. Now, as I said, it's decoupage scissors you use for this. If I can find them, they should be in there somewhere, and they're not. They must be in one of my other boxes. They're little decoupage scissors. These are actually fabric scissors, and they're quite sharp. Really, you shouldn't use fabric scissors for cutting out the likes of paper and stuff and card, but I do because I don't have any other paper scissors. But I recommend that you get paper scissors and not fabric scissors, as these are extremely sharp, and on a number of occasions I have left myself with half a finger, so that's not a good idea. The other type of foam pads you can get is ones like this, which are already in a square. They're already in a square, so you don't have to cut to the desired length, but I like the rolls so I can cut as much or as little of it as I want. Other things you might need is the likes of this craft knife. Again, be very careful because the blade is very sharp. That's just my alarm to tell me I've got 5 minutes left with my recording. So let's see. Cut out. No, we're okay. We're okay for a minute. We're all right for a minute. Let's get this to stand back up again. Right. Hopefully that alarm will not go off again. So yes, that's a craft knife. What I like to do, if I'm using gemstones, it can be very tricky to pick them up. So it can be good just to use your craft knife. I don't know if you can see me doing that. Just to use your craft knife to lift the gemstones off the backing paper and to pop them onto your card. Other things I like to use, if your card that you buy doesn't come already scored for you to fold it, then this is a bone, oh, what's the name for it? A bone file. This is a bone file, and what it does is you can fold over your card, and this scores down here for you, so you get a nice even crease and you don't get lines and all. So this is a very handy tool to have as well. Those decoupage scissors must be pardon me, in another box. You'll need sentiments then if you don't have stamps like best wishes and congratulations to put on the front of your card. You can also use peel off stickers, as in the letters or numbers, and put those on your card as well. Other things I like to use along the lines of embellishments is little butterflies. These wee things here is good. I stick these on with double-sided tape usually, and they're just wee charms that say special daughter and special nan and stuff. They're not all that heavy, and they're quite good for sticking on cards as well. Little fabric crocheted flowers as well. Those are the little gemstones I was talking about. Those ones are hearts. That's just other little bits of chipboard shapes. Those ones are lighter, they're not as heavy. We've also got buttons. You can put nice buttons on your cards for embellishments. We've got a star button. What else have we got in here? We've got a teddy bear button, and we've got butterfly buttons. So you can use just about anything for embellishments for your cards, which is, you know, absolutely fantastic. let me see what else I have here quickly to show you some of the cards I made just before this runs out. This card here I made, and this was made using peel off stickers, which was a design. So this was actually a peel off design, and it was a black peel off design, and I just peeled it off, put it onto the card, and I coloured it in with my pencils, and then put a sentiment on. I like to leave the message inside the card blank, as a lot of my clients prefer to write their own personal message inside greeting cards these days. So I just leave the inside blank for that reason. If my client wants a verse inside the card, well then I can provide one. But that's an example of peel off stickers and pop them on and just colour them in, and you've got a card. That one's the same. Okay, this one here this has got matching sunflower envelope. This was one with a square aperture in the middle, and then I put the just a coloured card in there, and I got the two fabric flowers to match and the matching envelope. This one was some butterflies that I coloured in from a colouring in book, and then I just popped them, just stuck it onto the page, stuck some gemstones as if the butterfly was flying, and done two pink flowers to match the pink butterfly and my sentiment. Okay, let's see. That was that one there with the football that I showed you earlier. So there is a verse that we verse inside, which said, hope you have a great birthday. So that's that one there, coloured in, that I showed you earlier. That's one with the chipboard pieces. So it is just making a little house and birds for Home Sweet Home. Very easy. This is some of the decoupage now. I just cut out and put it on, and put a little, I try to go with the colours in my main design is yellows and greens and stuff. Then I try to choose embellishments which coordinate with the colours in my main design. And I've done the same with the envelope is green, and then the card I've done orange to match the cat, and then the yellow butterfly and the yellow flower matches the yellow flowers in the design. Do you see that? There's one with the dog and the little butterfly. Let me see. Okay, this is one with the chipboard pieces, and it's for a baby girl. Just the chipboard piece in the middle, and some little stickers. You can get lovely little stickers for all occasions. As I say, you can buy them anywhere. For my inspiration, I tend to I like watching Create and Craft while I'm crafting, and this is the 3D decoupage. You can see it layered up there, and then I have put these little mice at the bottom, a mice and a rabbit at the bottom, and I've put those in foam pads as well to give them like they're bouncing off the page appearance. Sometimes too I'll put the sentiment on foam pads as well, just to make it seem as if it's lifting up off the page too. So those are just some examples of different cards you can make. I'm going to have to cut things short there because I'm sure this video is about to run out. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and Barney's out for the count. Barney always likes sleeping while I'm crafting, don't you? Join me for part 2 when I'll be discussing more of the basics of card making, and I'll be doing another little card making demonstration. So thank you very much for joining me, and I shall see you all again soon. Take care. Bye bye.